North Omaha, a dynamic neighborhood with a brilliant past but a dim present. North Omaha used to be a neighborhood that had streets lined with growing businesses. It was the jazz hub of the Midwest. The meat packaging and railroad industries were centered in this part of the city, so many people, primarily African Americans, migrated to these neighborhoods to work and live. They made it their own. It was a lively place where neighbors and friends were essentially family. Everybody could see the potential in North Omaha as it continued to prosper. However, in 1969, a riot changed all of the good that was North Omaha and turned it into the broken-down part of the city that it has become. It was never able to recover from that unfortunate disaster. Now, buildings that were once booming businesses are boarded up and abandoned, with shotgun holes seen in the remnants of what used to be the shop windows. Even families who have lived in North Omaha for their entire lives are afraid to let their children walk to school. North Omaha has become the #1 part of Omaha where sex offenders live. About 11 to 13% of the Omaha population is African American, and the majority of that percentage is located in North Omaha. It is the #3 place in the entire nation for overall African American poverty. The unemployment rate for African Americans in Omaha is at about 17%. Because of this low employment and poverty level in the area, there has been an increase in violence and gang activity. Essentially, no funding comes from the city to help the North Omaha community. All of these factors combined contribute to the increased decline of the North Omaha neighborhood. It is rare to find a business in North Omaha that is growing and flourishing. It is even more rare to find one that is owned by a Caucasian man from West Omaha. However, J.F. Bloom & Company is one such rare example. J.F. Bloom & Company was founded in 1879 by John F. Bloom. The business was started in Iowa, but the owner wanted to make a strategic move to a larger city, and thus the company was brought to Omaha. In 1927, the factory was opened at 20th and Ames Avenue in the heart of North Omaha. The company survived the riot and has continued to do business in the North Omaha neighborhood. We would like to highlight this company and learn more about what they have done to grow and thrive in a challenging part of the city that many would assume is not worth keeping your business in. Today, we hope to learn more about how Tim O'Neill, owner and president of J.F. Bloom, has dealt with the challenges of doing business in North Omaha, and how the culture and society have posed various ethical issues that the business has had to deal with.
I'm Jeff Schutzbach. I'm here today with Tim O'Neill, president of J.F. Bloom & Company. We're here just to do an interview about his business. And now, Tim, thanks again for having us today. And again, how long have you been with J.F. Bloom & Company? And can you tell us a little bit about the business and what you guys do here?
Well, first of all, J.F. Bloom & Company has been in business for 139 years, and I've been with the company for 31. In fact, a few more years before that, I was in college. I installed the monuments for them. But we're a company that designs and manufactures cemetery memorials for families. So we're kind of a hands-on company. We do a lot of specialized type of memorials for families, but most generally everything that we do is custom because every family has a different need, and we really feel like we're kind of history writers in that as we make these memorials and place them in the cemeteries, over our history we've kind of done a who's who of Omaha in a way as far as memorials are concerned.
And Tim, we're here in the North Omaha area, and overall the North Omaha area has not the greatest perception. Can you talk about the community in general that is around you and your impact on the community, and maybe a little bit of the community's impact on your own business?
As a member of the community, or really any community, our original building was where the county courthouse is. Mm-hmm. And we moved the factory and the office up here in 1929, and at that point we became kind of part of the neighborhood where the kids would stand outside of our facility and wait for the bus. And it was always, after you're here for a while, you start waiting on people that remind me, do you remember me? I was one of the kids that used to stand out in front. So we really feel like we've been part of the community. We participate in community activities. We sponsor some of the sporting teams within the community. We sponsor the high schools, some of the grade schools. People within the community know where we're located. So we have really a good history with the people of North Omaha. We're very satisfied to be here. We haven't really had any problems whatsoever, and we're really not looking to move this location from here.
Has there been any time in the past where you've maybe considered relocating, and why would that be, and why did you choose to go ahead and stick around here?
Well, it was one of the problems, I think, as Omaha has sprawled towards the west. It became increasingly more important that we find a place that would be somewhat midtown or farther to the west that would facilitate people from West Omaha. When you tell them you're located at 20th and Ames, that seemed like it's an overnight drive from West Omaha. Also, the perception, I think, that North Omaha gets, or the black eye that Omaha gets, that when you tell people that you're at 20th and Ames, I think the perception of the neighborhood changes. So to that end, we decided to put a retail store up in the west part of town.
And has that been a successful move, or have you had issues with the different location?
That part of it has changed. It's been very busy. It was a good move, but still the manufacturing, the designing, the sandblasting, all of that work is still done here at this location. We rely on the neighborhood for our labor market. That's been very good. It's a specialized business, so our people that work for us here around the manufacturing plant kind of take on as you train them, they seem to stay longer. And so most of our people have been with us for quite a few years.
And with a lot of crime in the area within the last number of years, do you feel like that labor force that comes from the Omaha area, do you have any more issues with your employees than any other company at a different location?
I don't think we do. You still have, a good employee, a loyal employee that's what it is, and if you have an employee that's not so good, then they're really not going to spend very much time with you or work with you, and that would be true in any business. I can't say that that's important here, but I just really feel like the people that we've had over the years that have come from the neighborhood here have been very good and very supportive of us.
And your business and in general, with maybe the economy of North Omaha maybe being at a decrease at the moment or in the past number of years, has your business ever took a dip in its own business, or has it pretty much stayed steady?
The economy affects every aspect of really any business, and when you've been in business for over 130 years, you can pinpoint things. For instance, in several years ago, we were faced with the farming crisis. So all of our outlets that were out in the rural areas suffered. Then you have the stock market crashes and different things, and that affects people within the urban areas, that rely on factories. And when they're scaling back and those kinds of things, there's just less dollars to deal with, whether you're selling bread or selling monuments. So that probably, for our type of business, that isn't something that would be a seasonal thing or would have real high highs or real low lows. We stay pretty, because I guess people think that everybody needs a monument, and everybody's going to die, so.
And then I guess other businesses that might be considering the North Omaha Omaha area. I guess what would you tell them would be the good parts about being in the area, and what maybe are a little bit tougher things to deal with?
One of the things I think is the price on space, the price on land is much more reasonable. You do have a good workforce. You also have the transportation. You're close to the interstates, you're close to the freeways. It's easier getting trucks in and out of here. There's a lot of industrial businesses around this part of the town. You're very close to the airport. So in that regard, it's a great place to locate for businesses, and we're happy here. So.
And Tim, you talked about your impact on the community. Can you talk a little bit more about the company's giving back to the community?
Well, I always thought, that I was taught that you derive your income from the community, that it's good to give back to the community. And I think we do a nice job of that. We work with the local high schools here. We work with some of the churches within the neighborhood. We do civic projects with the city and state governments. We deal with the veterans on different types of memorials and things, and we try to at least be a part of that, so that in the pricing and whatnot, that it's affordable for those organizations to do what they want to do. We have sponsored trips for kids to educational things, and so I just think that if the community thinks you're part of them, you should be a part of the community as well.
And I guess in general for our ethics class, is there any one situation that has come up where you've had to deal with an ethical issue, or maybe an instance where in general where ethics comes up in your daily operations or over the years?
Well, I think one thing, when you're dealing with customers as we are, people that have lost somebody, I think it's very, very important to deal with those people in a very righteous way. I think you rely on these customers, and over the years that we've been here, it's because of the way I think that we have treated people. And I think if that's your number one goal is the customer, that you need to treat the customer right, that transfers over from the top to the bottom. So even our people that do the installs a lot of times meet the customer there at the cemetery, so they know to deal with the customer in a certain way. So that's something that from the point of sale all the way to the finish of the sale, the customer is always our number one concern.
Well, thanks again for having us today, Tim, and I think that's it.
Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is the end of our presentation. For further information, please contact Jennifer Free or Jeffrey Schutzbach.